On the night of April 5, 1993, at the Tulsi Apartments in Mumbai, a terrifying noise was heard from the fifth floor. When residents ran out to look down, they saw Divya Bharti, a 19-year-old actress at the height of her fame, lying motionless on the cement floor. Just a few hours ago, she was beaming, raising a glass to celebrate her new apartment. Now that light has gone out, leaving behind a series of unanswered questions. Was this an accident or a cover-up murder? Let's start with us to find out right away. Divya Bharti was born on February 25, 1974, in Mumbai, India, into a middle-class Punjabi family. Her father, Om Prakash Bharti, is a small businessman, and her mother, Meeta Bharti, is a homemaker. Divya has a younger brother, Kunal Bharti, who has been with her since childhood. Why? From a young age, Divya stood out for her chubby face, big eyes, and bright smile. She was lively and energetic, but had no interest in studying. Books and school quickly gave way to dreams of the limelight. At the age of 16, Divya was cast in the film Babi Raja, 1990. The film became an instant box office hit, transforming her from an unknown girl into a sought-after face. Directors and producers competed to invite her to new projects. In a short span of 3 years, Divya starred in over 20 films, setting a record of 10 films in a single year, an unprecedented feat for a new actress. She starred in both Hindi and South Indian films, and was dubbed the biggest breakout star of the 90s. In 1993, Divya was only 19 years old, but already had a dream fortune, luxury cars, big movie contracts, and extensive connections in Bollywood. On screen, she was the epitome of youthfulness and freshness. Off-screen, she was both a dreamy young woman and a woman who had entered into a secret marriage with film producer Sajid Nadiadwala. The pinnacle of his career, secret love, the desire to buy his dream house, everything seemed to be opening up a bright future. But at that moment, fate stopped everything. In the early 90s, Divya Bharti's career exploded. She was the face of a new wave of young stars, standing shoulder to shoulder with the top names of that time. But outside the spotlight, Divya lived a secretive life. In 1992, while on a film set, Divya met a young producer, Sajid Nadiadwala. Their friendly conversations quickly turned into love. Just a few months later, on May 10, 1992, the two secretly married in an Islamic ceremony at their home, witnessed by a cleric, Aazi. After the wedding, Divya changed her name to Sana Nadiadwala and converted to Islam. The marriage was kept secret, even from many friends and colleagues. The reason was that at that time there was still a belief in Bollywood that an actress would lose her appeal after marriage, making it difficult to get leading roles. Divya had wanted to go public, but on Sajid's advice, or rather demand, she agreed to keep it a secret. Sajid arranged for Divya to live in a separate apartment in Versova, Mumbai. Sometimes her brother Kunal or maid Amrita would stay with her to look after her. On the outside, Divya appeared to be a single woman, busy with filming schedules across India. However, inside, their marriage was not exactly peaceful. Sajid wanted Divya to gradually reduce her work and focus on her family, but she insisted on continuing to act. This disagreement gradually created conflicts. In addition, Divya started to turn to alcohol to relieve pressure. In April 1993, in the midst of her busy work schedule, Divya had a big dream: to buy her dream apartment in Mumbai. She told her friends that this would be the beginning of a new chapter in her life. No one knew that this new chapter would be the last. April 5, 1993, Mumbai was in the early days of summer. That morning, Divya Bharti had just returned from Chennai after completing the shooting schedule for a film. Her original schedule was to catch the next flight to Hyderabad in the evening to start her new project. Late in the afternoon, as she was packing, Divya received a call from a real estate agent she knew. He told her that a 4-bedroom apartment in Neptune Apartments had just come up for sale, a rare opportunity in central Mumbai. Divya immediately changed her plans. She called her younger brother Kunal Bharti and asked him to come and see the house. When she set foot in the apartment, Divya almost immediately decided to buy it. The apartment was spacious and bright, exactly what she envisioned as her dream home. Without hesitation, she paid the entire amount in cash the same day. The joy of owning a new home prompted Divya to change her shooting schedule in Hyderabad, calling director Raghavendra Rao to postpone the shoot by a day. She said she wanted to enjoy this special moment. Around evening, Divya called fashion designer Nita Lula and her husband Dr. Shyam Lula, inviting them to their apartment in Tulsi Apartments to celebrate and discuss costumes for the film Mora. However, when she told her husband Sajid Nadiadwala about the house purchase, she was met with a harsh reaction. Sajid was angry that his wife had made a major financial decision without consulting him. The argument, which took place over the phone, ended when Sajid said he had to meet a film distributor in Lokhandwala and would not attend the pointless party. Despite her husband's displeasure, Divya prepared the feast. At around 10 p.m., Nita and Shyam Lalla arrived. The three of them drank. Divya chose white rum, while Nita and Shyam had whiskey. The maid Amrita kept coming and going from the kitchen, bringing food and snacks. The atmosphere was initially cheerful, but as the alcohol took hold, Divya began to drink more, seemingly to forget the argument. She and Nita even danced in the living room, laughter mixed with music. No one expected that. Just a few minutes later, a noise in the night would end it all. At around 10:10 p.m., the small party in apartment 501 of the Tulsi Apartments was still going on. Divya, Nita, and Shyam sat in the living room, soft music playing, glasses of wine being emptied and refilled. The maid, Amrita, moved between the kitchen and the living room bringing snacks, cookies, and fruit. However, amidst the laughter, Divya's eyes were sometimes sad. The previous argument with her husband hung like a gray cloud over her head. The alcohol had made her moody. Shyam, who was a psychiatrist, gently advised, "Divya, you've had enough to drink. Take a break." She just smiled faintly, stood up, and then abruptly left the living room without saying a word. Divya's footsteps headed towards her favorite room, the only room in the house without iron bars protecting the windows. The windows here open onto a vast expanse overlooking the building's parking lot. Divya often sits on the narrow windowsill, just 23 centimeters wide, at night, enjoying the breeze. She herself had requested that the bars be removed so that her view would not be obstructed. She walked to the window, a glass of white rum in her left hand, her right hand resting lightly on the wooden frame. The Mumbai night wind blew in, ruffling her hair. Outside, the yellow light of the streetlights reflected on the cement below, an empty courtyard with no cars parked unlike any other. Then, a dry sound rang out. Bang! Tearing the silence apart. From the living room, Nita, Shyam, and Amrita were startled. In an instant, they rushed towards their favorite room. When they arrived, the window frame was empty, the wine glass shattered on the floor, and below, 5 floors below, Divya's lifeless body lay sprawled on the cold cement floor. The moment they saw Divya lying on the ground, Nita, Shyam, and Amrita froze. But seconds later they rushed down the stairs, their hearts pounding. Footsteps echoed in the empty hallway, mixed with panicked calls. Divya! Divya! The ground floor of Tulsi Apartments was now dotted with a few residents running out because of the loud noise. Among them was director V. Menon, who lived in the same building. Seeing the emergency, he immediately ran over and helped them carry Divya to the car. Blood was flowing from her head, staining her white dress. Her eyes were closed, her body limp, her breathing had stopped. But they still held out a faint hope. If they got to the hospital quickly, maybe they could make it in time. The car sped through the night, heading straight for Cooper Hospital, the nearest emergency room. In the car, Nita and Amrita tried to shake Divya. Shyam put his hand on her neck to feel for a pulse, but all in vain. When we arrived at the hospital, the doctors on duty were ready. Divya was taken straight to the emergency room. Less than 5 minutes later, the door opened and a doctor came out, his eyes heavy. Sorry, she passed away, The brain injury was too severe, there was no way to save her. The news spread quickly. Within an hour, her father, Om Prakash Bharti, and his brother, Kunal, arrived at the hospital. Upon seeing his daughter's body, Om Prakash cried out in despair, "They have killed my daughter." Around 1 a.m., her husband, Sajid Nadiadwala, also arrived. As soon as he entered the room, he saw his wife lying motionless, immediately collapsed, and fainted. Just hours ago, Divya was full of life. Now, family and friends stood in the cold hospital room, unable to believe that she was gone. On the night of April 5, 1993, Mumbai police sealed off the courtyard of Tulsi Apartments and apartment number 501, where Divya Bharti lived. Flashlights swept across the cement floor, which was still stained with blood and broken glass from wine glasses. The first thing that caught my attention was that the area where Divya fell was completely empty, with no cars parked there. This was rare, as the area was usually packed with cars at night. Many wondered, why was it so perfectly empty that night? If there had been a car parked there, the impact could have lessened and saved her life. Inside the apartment, the police checked Divya's favorite room. The window was wide open. The sill was only about 23 centimeters wide, and there were no bars. There were no obvious signs of a fight or struggle. But strangely, a wine glass fell out at the same time as the victim, shattering on the floor. The next day, at the Cooper Hospital morgue, the medical examiner conducted an autopsy. The report concluded that the cause of death was severe head trauma due to a fall from a great height. In addition, the body had some light bruises on the arms and legs, but not enough to confirm that there had been a struggle before the fall. Divya's blood alcohol level was recorded as high, consistent with hours of continuous drinking. This may have caused her to lose her balance, or it may have made her vulnerable to exploitation. Immediately after the autopsy results were released, Mumbai police began taking statements from those present that evening. Nita Lola, her husband Shyam Lola, and Amrita, the maid. However, these statements were never made public. The police only confirmed that Nita and Shyam said that they were sitting in the living room when they heard a loud noise from the other room, ran to find the window was open and Divya had fallen out. The shocking thing happened a few days later. Amrita, the most important witness because she was closest to the scene, suddenly died. The cause of death was listed as stroke. Many suspected this was a case of witness assassination, because in the short time after Divya's death, Amrita had not been thoroughly questioned. Rumors began to spread. Suspicion was directed at Sajid Nadiadwala, Divya's husband, even though he was not present at the time of the incident. It was said that there were many conflicts between the two. Sajid wanted his wife to quit acting. Divya wanted to continue her career. She started drinking heavily, causing tension in the family. Some sources also said that Sajid had ties to Dawood Ibrahim, a notorious Mumbai crime lord who was hiding in Dubai. The police could not find any direct evidence, but the information was enough to feed countless theories about a cover-up murder plot. Despite intense public pressure, the investigation slowly stalled. There were no witnesses, no surveillance cameras, and little physical evidence. After years of silence in 1998, the police officially closed the case, concluding that Divya Bharti died from an accident. But to the public, that conclusion only deepened the mystery. Many believed the truth was buried under layers of power and influence from Mumbai's film and crime worlds. During the investigation, Mumbai police did not arrest anyone in connection with Divya Bharti's death. The reason given was lack of direct evidence and insufficient elements of crime. Although Sajid Nadiadwala's name has been mentioned in many theories, he has an alibi. He was in Lokhandwala that evening to meet a film distributor. No one has been able to prove that he hired someone to carry out the attack. Police questioned Sajid, his brother Kunal Bharti, and Divya's mother. However, the full content of the interviews was not made public. This raised suspicions that sensitive details were being concealed. Nita Lula and her husband, who were both in the apartment, never spoke publicly about that night. Their complete silence over the decades has raised the question, what were they afraid of? Or was someone forcing them to keep quiet? The case file is mainly based on the forensic conclusion. Divya died of a traumatic brain injury from a fall from the 5th floor, with a high alcohol concentration. There were no obvious signs of a fight, no direct witnesses who saw the moment she fell, and no clear motive to prosecute anyone. With such a flimsy record, it was nearly impossible for prosecutors to build a criminal case. In fact, the case never went to trial. There were no defendants, no trial. In 1998, after 5 years of delays, the Mumbai police announced the final verdict: accident. For Bharti's family and her legions of fans, the conclusion came as a shock. Her father, Om Prakash Bharti, had publicly expressed suspicions that his daughter had been murdered, but was left helpless by the decision to close the case. Since then, the Divya Bharti case has become one of Bollywood's most famous mysteries, with numerous theories but no one being held legally accountable. Divya Bharti's death has not only taken away a young talent at the peak of her powers, but has also left an unfillable void in the hearts of her family, friends, and millions of fans. Her parents have lost their only daughter, her brother Kunal has lost his protective sister, and the audience has lost a star who could have shone for decades to come. More painfully, they not only lost her, but also the truth. 30 years have passed and the question, accident or murder, still lingers unanswered. The case file has been closed, but the suspicion has never subsided. Divya Bharti's story is a reminder that the spotlight can obscure dark corners, and in a world where power and influence intertwine, justice sometimes gets lost. The lesson is not only for artists but for all of us. Protect yourself, cherish those around you, and don't let conflicts, pressures, or unresolved secrets become the source of tragedy. If you've made it this far, leave your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Divya Bharti's passing was a tragic accident or a cleverly concealed murder? Please share this video to let more people know about the story, because sometimes public pressure is the only way to get the truth out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on the true crime stories we bring you every week.